Hello, everybody. Welcome to Side Effect. This is our little Flickr Effects side show, midweek show that we've started doing, and we're recording this on December 13th, 2017. I'm David Lotz. Joining me this week is Bobby Jackson out in California. How's it going, Bobby?
Great. How are you doing?
I'm pretty good. And also joining us is Michelle Hillard, sitting right here next to me in good old Orlando, Florida. How's it going?
Hey, yeah, doing well. Actually, I've been a little concerned about our friends out in California with the fires.
Well, I can safely say that we, at least me and Yasha, are nowhere near in the area in which the fires are going. But I mean, it's definitely bad business, and it sucks for a lot of people that do live in Ventura County and areas in LA because it's been tough going for them. But it does seem like they've been able to get some of the stuff contained. It's still hard times because of the wind kicking up and everything, and obviously no rain out this way. So it's not great, but hopefully we'll get some sort of respite soon because, yeah, I think I heard the one that started maybe a few days ago, or if it wasn't the Ventura one, it was the other one that happened. But it was basically caused by this person cooking, and they, accidentally started a fire. That's crazy.
Man.
That much damage, and it's just one person, and
Yeah, because you got the Santa Ana winds kicking up, and
yeah.
Oh man. Well, I'm glad you guys are okay out there.
Thanks. We get the fires, you guys get the hurricanes. So
Right.
Yeah. But we've had fires. I remember one summer when I
You
was...
can brush fires.
coming out of college? We had one good summer where, I felt like most of the summer it was just constant smell of smoke around Florida.
Yeah.
Like driving around and it just, just ash kind of falling on your car all the time. And yeah, it happens here too sometimes, but not as often. Not nearly as often as it seems to happen in California.
Not like
seriously.
California gets it, that's for sure.
we can count on that, like you guys can count on
hurricanes.
the freaking humidity.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
You just know every year there's those dry seasons for us, and it's just going to cause some big wildfire.
Right.
You would think we wouldn't have any more land to burn, but there's still
Right.
plenty apparently. And then after this, once we get into our rainy season, then you have to worry about mudslides because of the land that's been scorched. It's all like not solidified, and so then it just creates another problem. So it's always something.
And then there's the earthquakes.
Oh, well, luckily, knock on wood there, we haven't had to really worry about a bad one
You
in a while.
better knock on wood right now.
Yeah, seriously. Trust me, I'm finding any wood I can find.
We got to get through this show at least. Come on.
Well,
Yeah, at least that.
I'm glad that you're okay, Bobby.
Thank you, Michelle.
I'm glad that Yash is okay too, even though he's not here tonight.
So, guys, how's it going? It's Wednesday night. It's a holiday week. Don't laugh at me. This is a holiday week.
is.
This is better than Christmas Eve.
Oh,
I wish we got the day off for it.
Okay,
but
right?
It is
Hold
like
on.
a holiday.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to argue just a little bit.
Oh, come on. This is pretty good. Come on. I mean, Christmas Eve is good, but this is Star Wars Eve. Don't you just feel that sparkle, that excitement? Come on. Nothing?
I mean, I get crazy, stupid excited on Christmas Eve. I love Christmas Eve.
I know. I'm joking. Well, half joking.
Yeah, I know.
It's about the same as Christmas Eve. Okay.
It's a very ridiculously close second. I'll give you that much. But yeah, no. I found some cute gifs today about just how people are excited for Star Wars. So just, I don't know.
She said GIFs.
I did. I said gifs.
I know. Makes me happy. Sorry.
Oh, I'm like, what just happened? Anyways, so yeah, no, they found some cute gifs about people being excited for Star Wars, and I don't know, it's been kind of fun. So I've been on one side trying to avoid social media as far as like spoiler leakage or reviews or anything like that. But on the other side, like I'm loving the cute gifs. Loving it all. That gets me more excited, actually, the gifs. Everybody getting so excited gets me excited.
I mean, to be clear for anyone listening, if you're confused about what we're talking about, obviously this is the 13th. Tomorrow night is Star Wars The Last Jedi for showings, even though technically the 15th is the official opening day.
Officially, yeah.
But first showings are tomorrow night, and that is what we're referring to. If
Star Wars The Last Jedi.
maybe someone's listening to this episode in a year for some reason and is like, what in the fuck are they talking about?
The Last Jedi.
It's funny you mentioned the social media thing, like, because the embargo was lifted, was it a couple days ago, Bobby?
On Tuesday at 9.
Oh, so it was yesterday.
So social media lifted on Saturday night reactions.
Yeah, reactions, yeah.
But the official reviews were yesterday, yeah.
Right.
And I know, like, you had kind of given us all a warning via our little text messaging group, and I was like, okay, I'm done with social media then.
Yeah, forget social media for the rest of the week.
But I will admit, sure, I've kind of, been around Facebook a little bit. I've been around, Instagram I haven't been too worried about. I'm like, it's Instagram, come on.
Yeah.
What all am I going to see on there? But for the most part, I even scrolling through my Facebook feed, I'm like, really haven't seen anything yet. I've basically avoided almost any even headlines of like a review, with the exception of like, I think so Saturday night we got reactions. Sunday morning, I remember I woke up and I saw one headline that was actually, I was impressed. They definitely were like, they worded the headline just so as to not lean one way or the other. You had to kind of click to see the rest of the headline, or I forget how they did it. And I couldn't help myself. I had to. So I did see that.
Ugh, weak.
Oh.
I had to do something. I couldn't.
Weak.
Come on. But for the most part, I still haven't seen anything.
That's good. Yeah. That's really good. Especially, unfortunately, it looks like some people who were turning to one of the reputable trade magazines like Variety ended up getting spoiled, because in their review they revealed a big spoiler.
Oh, no shit.
And and on Twitter they called out the writer of the article.
As they should.
The writer,
as they should.
Yeah. So a lot of people called out the writer, and instead of the writer apologizing, he kind of doubled down on it, and he said, well, it's not his fault that he said something to the effect of like, critics don't spoil movies, the writers or the producers or something spoil movies. So it was like some lame excuse, instead of just saying like he messed up in writing it and retracting the story. He just kind of passed the buck on to someone else and standing by his review, when everybody that I saw on the internet, on Twitter, was saying like this guy blatantly leaked something that was a spoiler. And then I saw some other YouTubers that I watch talking about another prominent YouTuber. They didn't mention the person by name, so I don't know who it was, but they had already released their spoiler-filled review for the Last Jedi yesterday. And where most of the websites I'll look at, or the YouTubers that I'll watch, what they do is they'll do their non-spoiler review, just giving their essential thoughts on it and not going into any plot details. They might talk about which characters they liked or whatever, just very bare bones. But no one gives their spoiler review because no one else in the general public has seen the movie. So this person who did do a spoiler review thing, whether they realized what they were doing or not, maybe they just wanted to get early hits. But what it caused was other people going to that channel, listening to the review, and then going to other channels and spoiling things that they heard in that one in the comments section.
Oh man!
So
people
it's
suck.
Like, really,
people
why can't people
suck.
just be so bad?
Jeez.
Oh.
Yeah, that's one thing I have avoided for the most part, is my YouTube subscription feed. I think I talked about this on another episode a couple weeks ago, how ever since the trailer dropped, I've even kind of dropped off of kind of going through that much.
Right.
And especially the last week, I really have. I'm just, knowing that reviews are out there, because I think I've said before, I can't stand when a lot of times the thumbnail, the looks on their faces of the thumbnail for the YouTube video automatically tells you kind of like what they think. And I'm like, I don't even want to see that shit right now. I'm like completely avoiding YouTube unless it's like something I specifically go in there and I'm searching for a video like the Ready Player One trailer or something.
Oh yeah, that lovely little gym happened.
Yeah. We'll Bobby talked about that on his show. I say his show like it's our show, but he did it by himself. So.
Yeah, that's not out there just yet. Well, I guess maybe by the time people hear this one, it will be. But
it's out there.
Yeah.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's out there.
Oh, okay.
What's that one titled?
It's titled A Night with Bobby Jackson.
Is it?
It is. Actually,
it's like you're going to a cafe or a cabaret, and you're like, "Well, one night with Bobby Jackson. Let me."
We really should do that, like every few episodes, and just have Yasha do one by himself.
Right.
Then I'll do one.
I gotta say, it's pretty tough to record by yourself. I think maybe it would be easier if I was doing a video, like if I had just did that just for YouTube instead of doing it for our feed and doing it as an audio podcast. It may have been easier because then I'm sort of looking into the camera and I'm able to people would see that I'm pausing or whatnot. But when I'm just doing it by myself as an audio, I had to keep talking and even try and think of things in my head as I'm talking.
Yeah, man, you got to fill that space.
And it was like dead air. Yeah. And then I'm still not great with all the audio editing and recording, so I didn't want to pause it and then collect my thoughts and then come back and then hit unpause and keep going. I didn't know if I'd mess anything up, so I just was like, okay, I gotta do it live and do it all in one take, and just went with it.
Well, good job, Bobby. I'm proud of you.
Oh, thanks.
But yeah, Star Wars. It's tomorrow. Cheers to that. Cheers. Get that on the mic. Yeah, I don't know. I just
I'm just really looking forward to being able to be part of the conversation because it's already been happening online with other people that have seen the movie, and so I really wish. There's two things that I keep not maybe getting upset about, but am definitely jealous about, is that one, all these different people that either do YouTube video reviews or maybe they have websites or whatever the case. I see people on Twitter and stuff, and I'll see that they got to go to the press screening that was on Monday or the premiere that was on Saturday. I'm like, who is this person? How'd they get to go?
Right.
I've never heard of you, and not that you're not someone, but it's just who got you on that list? And then so the other thing that I get like that about too is these people who keep getting screeners for all these movies that are Oscar nominated or will possibly be Oscar nominated movies. They're getting like The Shape of Water in the mail. They're getting all these screeners. I'm like, I gotta work hard to go see these movies, and I don't have any screeners coming to my door. So I'm like, how do I get on that list? I need to make things a little bit easier because I see all these things. It's just I wish I could see them in a more convenient way.
Yeah.
It's not what you know, Bobby. It's who you know.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. We got to get Aaron back on the podcast. He gets all those screeners now.
Yeah.
Does he really?
Yeah,
He's in the Directors Guild. Right?
Yeah, because we both lived in LA for a bit. He stayed out in LA even after I moved back, and he started doing like assistant directing work, and he ended up in the Directors Guild. And yeah, once he got in the Directors Guild, it was like boom, screeners all the time, and he still gets them. Like I think he probably keeps his membership up, even though he's not working in that field right now.
It's almost worth it.
Yeah,
to do that.
But every year around this time, I haven't talked to him really in a little while. I need to touch base with him, but around this time, award season, he's always like, "Yep, I just got a screener for Star Wars: Force Awakens, and I got a screener for Shape of Water."
Did he really say that?
I think I remember that one year. He was like, "Oh yeah, I got a screener for." I'm like, "What? for Star Wars.
Though I will say I would have still went to go into the theater to see Star Wars Force Awakens as opposed to watching the screener. But
okay, so
most
that's a question for you right now. A screener shows up at your door right now for Last Jedi, and you could watch it tonight at home, but it's a screener. It's going to have the occasional property of Lucasfilm, Disney on it, and all that bullshit. They might, stamp time code through the whole thing. You have to watch it like that, but you could watch it 2 days early. Or are you gonna wait and watch it in the theater?
Well, you're asking the wrong person. So, what do you think that I would do? Actually, that's the more interesting answer.
That's tough, actually, because I could tell you right now that'd be tough for me. But
I would wait. I would wait for the theater.
I would probably wait for a couple reasons. I would wait because, you know how I am. I pay to see almost every movie in Dolby Cinema these days because I'm paranoid and not paranoid, but just picky about the way movies look and sound, and I like that experience. And especially in this case, not only am I looking forward to seeing this movie as soon as possible, I'm looking forward to seeing it opening night, which means I'm going to be seeing it with a group of people who are also insanely excited about this movie. That's a lot of fun. And then not having that experience and just watching it at home for the first time, it's not going to be the same. So I'm going to assume that you're going to do the same thing, Bobby.
Yep. Then you gave the reasons why. So, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
But you got to admit, though, to see it sitting there on your
I'm not saying it would
desk,
be easy.
It'd be like, there it is right there.
I would say that until I actually saw it in the theater, it would just be eating away at my soul. But then I'd be like, oh, great, I can watch it the day after I watch it in the theater. It'd be awesome.
Yeah, as soon as you got home from the theater, you're like, all right, I'm watching this
pop
one
it
more
in
time.
again, do it again, do it again. Like, that'd be fine as long as I could see in the theater first. Yeah, I want the experience. I think it's just, that's the way film is meant to be seen, is in a theater, period. Like, that's just how it's supposed to be. And, yeah. And I don't think anything's ever going to change my mind on that.
No, I will say with TVs the way they've gotten and home sound systems the way they are, and there's definitely certain movies where I'm like, you know what, I could watch this in a theater or on a very large TV at home, and it's okay. Is Star Wars one of those movies? No, I don't think, but some movies I still, even our house film is still gonna be great on screen.
Right.
But I don't know. I get what you're saying. Anyway, just curious. So, yeah, that's tomorrow. Seeing a 9:30 showing tomorrow night. I'm excited. And then what? Yeah, Battlefront put out a new DLC today?
Yeah.
Which I thought I was done with the campaign, but I guess I'm not now. I'm going to go back and do all this added stuff in the campaign.
Is it like leaked stuff for the movie? Like, are you going to wait till you watch the film and then go in?
I'm going to wait. I may go ahead, like even tonight, and turn on the PS4 and let it do the update because God only knows how long that's going to take.
Oh, right. No joke. Yeah.
So I may do that, but no, I'm not going to play it until after I see Last Jedi. Not that I'm sure it's not going to spoil anything, but it definitely seems to, without getting into the storyline of Battlefront 2, it definitely seems like it's even closer to Force Awakens and thus leading into things that lead to Last Jedi. So,
right.
I'm going to stay away from it for now.
No, I think that's smart.
But I'm excited about it. I'm like, cool, sweet. I thought I was done with the campaign in 2 hours. I guess I got more time to play with it now.
Yeah. Definitely have more to go. I don't know how much more is coming out as far as if there's something else after this, but I don't know. Yeah, I haven't heard one way or another. I was going to almost guess that there is, but there's no indication of that. I haven't seen anything. So I'm just maybe hopefully guessing that there will be at least one more campaign add-on after this second one, but I really don't know.
Right. All right. Well, real quick, as we already talked about, you talked about the Ready Player One trailer, Bobby, when you did your show. But we couldn't make it, obviously. That's why you did it alone. None of the rest of us could be there.
I mean, we suck.
But Michelle, that trailer. I've watched it a few times now. what's to be said about like that movie? Like, it just looks so fucking good. I can't fucking wait to see that movie.
Like, I will say I think I like the other trailer better.
As a trailer goes?
As far as a trailer goes, yeah. I think that one was more thoughtful. I don't know. That was better. But, yeah, man, there's a few more little Easter eggs they allotted into this one. A few more little pop culture references. And, right at the end with the Back to the Future sound. Oh, I got really giddy. There are things that pop up and just go, look at that, childhood, and like I'm stupid excited for this film, and I don't know, I almost don't think I want to see more trailers, and I know that's crazy talk. This film isn't until the spring, and I acknowledge that, but I'm almost like, I don't know if I want to see more, because I really want to just totally enjoy this, and I think I've been looking forward to this film for such a long time.
I've thought about that question, like, okay, if they release yet another full-length trailer for this before March, am I going to take that point of view of, I don't want to see anymore? But to me, this is a little different in that I've quote unquote read, I guess, listened to the book, so it's like I already know the story, even though obviously they're as with any film adaptation of a book, they are making changes, and you can definitely see that in these trailers. But I don't know. I think because I already have listened to the book and I know it, part of me is like, I don't know if I'm all that bothered by continuing to watch stuff for this movie. Not like Last Jedi, where I'm like, you know what? I just really want a virgin experience when I see that movie. But this, it's like I kind of know what I'm getting. So
and I agree with you. I mean, I read the book. I was the first one of our group to read the book, and yeah, I know exactly what's going to happen. And yeah, there'll be changes and liberties that get taken, but I'm at a point that visually, and then just any more additional references or pop culture things, I want to enjoy those in the theater. I'm at a point I'm like, I'm good. I feel very good with it. Like I think I really, because like I will say, like watching this last one, like Voltron like pops up and I'm like, oh my god, it's Voltron.
Yeah.
And I just
actually it's not Voltron.
Oh, don't tell me it was the other one, the one that was before Voltron.
It's Gundam.
Oh,
Mobile Suit Gundam.
It's still awesome.
Yeah, it's still cool.
Oh, come on. Michelle will be disappointed in the movie already. She's already bummed. She's like, this movie's going to suck.
It's not that bad. No, I only know that because of someone else who had seen the trailer, and I was looking at it was on one of the YouTube channels, and he broke down some of the different things that they showed, and he was saying that a lot of people thought it was Voltron. I think I did as well, because I only watched the trailer a couple times, and he pointed out that it was actually like from the Gundam series. And I was like, oh.
I see. I've only watched the trailer twice, and I will say that shot is it's a little dark, like in color scheme, which is probably why I didn't realize that. I totally was like, oh my god, it's Voltron. Just the first time I watched it, I was like, holy shit. I love Voltron. I'm a huge sucker.
I thought
Voltron.
The same thing.
And I haven't watched anybody's breakdowns of it because, again, I'm at a point like I think I could safely say I really don't want to see much more. I don't want to hear any more breakdowns of it. I just want to explore it on my own. I think that's kind of where I'm at least. But it was good to see like another shot of Iron Giant like charging into what I'm assuming is battle, and I was just like, yes, so good.
But I'm sure the movie's going to be great, even though it's taking a definitely a different path with certain things. But one of those paths is, I have to say, is like it's a major difference from the book, and I'm like, and it's a major aspect of the book. And I mean, of course, I can only talk in vague terms right now without spoiling the book, but I'm like, that's interesting. Like that's such a huge aspect of the book to be very obvious that you're not doing that here. I don't know. I'd have to talk to you guys off air about it, but I'm just like, it's just weird to me. Okay.
Well, what I'll say is I recommend anybody read the book. It's a quick read. Apparently it's a quick Audible listen.
Yeah, I forget how many hours that one was. It wasn't the shortest I've done, but it wasn't the longest either.
Yeah, I definitely recommend it. It's a good story, and
I mean, with Will Wheaton doing the.
Oh yeah, that's right, Will Wheaton.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I mean, there's times I listen to these audiobooks and I think that I wish I had the time to just read these. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy the whole audiobook thing, but I do wish I could just read it and kind of have my own interpretation of people's voices in my mind as opposed to whoever decides to read this. But with that one, I was thoroughly happy I listened to Will Wheaton read it. Like, there's something about it that was a lot of fun.
Well, I definitely recommend for audience members to read it. It's a good one.
Right.
And Lord knows I'm stupid excited for the film, so yeah.
And then, when they did, I guess, a Facebook event for the trailer, the author announced he's writing a sequel.
Yeah. What I found interesting about that, two things, really. I didn't think of the idea of there being a sequel based on where the book ends at. So It's interesting to see where they'll go with the sequel. But the other thing that I found interesting was that from what I heard or read from that event is that Steven Spielberg is supposed to have input into the book sequel. I was like, wow.
Really?
Okay. Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So I'm like, I guess he's already lining that up to be another movie he'll direct.
Steven's already ready for the next one.
Executive produce.
Yep.
I mean, was that the kind of situation where the author went to Steven Spielberg, like, okay, now that you're involved, obviously, in this film, and I'm going to write this book, you have any ideas, anything you want to consult?
Super open to your thoughts.
Or I wonder how that came about. That's
interesting.
Interesting.
It's going to be filled with Easter eggs. So that movie's going to have multiple viewings just trying to figure out all the different things that are in there.
I've got a feeling that unless it just really completely bombs on me, unless it just, I'm pissed, something happens and I just get I throw my hands up in the air and I go, F this film, I'm probably going to see the movie twice before I even do the review that weekend. I could almost put money on that.
Yeah. No, I
just because there's so much. There's so much. There's going to be so much.
Mm-hmm. With that in mind, that's a good question. Bobby, do you by chance already have tickets for a second showing of Last Jedi?
I knew it.
Oh, yeah. I'm seeing it Saturday morning at 9:30.
Nice. All right.
So you're seeing it tomorrow night and Saturday
morning?
Yeah.
Nice. You go, boy.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I will.
I will go.
I will go, and I will have a smile on my face. It's going to be amazing.
That's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
There'll be a skip in my step and a song in my heart.
And it's called Star Wars.
That's right.
That's awesome.
Sorry.
I don't know. We're kind of running out of time, but anything else you guys want to chat about?
Yeah, I do. I have something else.
What's up?
We have not talked about this, and it's been maybe a couple weeks now that it was announced, and I really wanted to get your thoughts on Quentin Tarantino directing and writing a Star Wars film.
Star Trek film.
Star Trek film.
That's right. My bad.
Did you see
I got Star Wars on the brain.
Did you see Picard today?
No, Patrick Stewart say something?
He's on board.
He's on board. What do you like? So what? Fill us in.
He's very excited to do a Tarantino version of Picard.
Nice.
He's down.
So yeah,
Patrick Stewart is in.
So Bobby, you're referring to the fact that Quentin Tarantino, he said previously like he would love to do a Star Trek film. And I don't think we even talked about it on the podcast back then because it just seemed like one of those Tarantino, hey, I'd love to do this.
Well, he'd love to do everything.
I'd love to direct a Care Bears commercial too. It'd be great. Like, I don't know. Like, it was just one of those things. And now it seems that I think this was broken by Deadline, right?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I think it was Deadline that came out with the news,
but I think it was
that Tarantino indeed had pitched an idea of a Star Trek film, and that Abrams, or I guess his production company and Abrams, because they're involved with the kind of the new timeline of Star Trek movies. Abrams decided to put like a writer's room together to try to work on that idea, and it seems that indeed there's at least a good chance that he's going to direct a Star Trek film, and it would be as you would expect with a Tarantino film, a rated R Star Trek film. And what do I think about it? I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Okay, I come at this obviously from two sides. I am a huge Tarantino fan. I'm unapologetic in that regard. I think he is easily one of the most talented directors that is working today, that has been working in a long time, like ever. I really love his stuff. And I am also a Trekkie. Yeah. I love Star Trek. But I've also been, when it comes to Trek, I am definitely not one of the kind of Roddenberry purists. Like,
right.
For instance, the reboot. I mean, the 2009 Star Trek and everything since then. Like, there's a lot of people, the Roddenberry purists, I guess you could call them, that like hate it. And
yeah.
I loved it. I teared up at the beginning of the 2009 Star Trek when I saw it in the theater because for me it was, oh my God, this is exactly what I've always wanted. Like, I've always loved Star Trek, but there's always been that part of me that's like, man, I would love to have a Star Trek that was maybe a little grittier and a little more serious, or and that 2009 Star Trek started, that opening scene, and I was like, holy shit, this is it.
No, I lost my mind.
And my mind. I couldn't believe it, and I was so happy. So, and then the idea of Tarantino directing a Star Trek film, like, for him to be passionate about it, it tells me right off the bat, he isn't just nonchalant saying this, like, he has an idea. And for him,
something's in his head.
For him to pitch an idea, and for then Abrams and that production company to go, you know what, we're going to put a writer's room together and work on this, like, boom, that tells me, all right, he had an idea, and now he's told somebody else, and they were like, holy shit, like,
let's start fleshing out a little bit.
Maybe we should work on this. How can I not get excited about that?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, but sure, as a Star Trek fan, will seeing a Star Trek film that's just completely out of the norm for Star Trek, like, just be a little jarring? I mean, I mean, part of me would almost prefer that it be like a completely, like, different ship, like just a whole other storyline, like set in the same universe, but not the Enterprise, like, since it's already going to feel so completely different from everything else we've seen, it needs to set apart from it even more, kind of thing, But yeah, I mean, how do I not get pumped about that? That just sounds incredible.
I'm with you. I feel like it's exciting. It's an exciting idea, and I will say, I feel like I'd back it if it were the same grouping. All at the same time, though, I feel like it'd be good if they distance themselves a little bit from it. I don't think there would be a bad thing.
Distance from the current...
Different crew, different ship. I think that might be a good idea.
Right.
And I'm saying that, and if they don't, I mean, I just got to see it. That's just really all there is. I just got to have to see it. But at the same time, like, I have faith and trust in Tarantino and Abrams to put out a film that would still harken back to and still envelop what the basics of what Star Trek is about at the core. And yeah, it's going to get Tarantino-y, obviously.
You're right.
But as long as the main basics are there, I'm good.
So, Bobby, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, just to go to back to what you sort of started off with in terms of being a fan of Tarantino and being a fan of Star Trek, I'm right there with you in terms of both. It's just that I guess for where I think about it, it's harder for me to put the two together and reconcile what that would be like in my brain, just because of how different they are. I wouldn't say for 100% that I'm a Roddenberry purist, but I have always maintained that I've liked that vision of what he had for Star Trek and how it was very much no fighting in between the crew and it was them against other threats as opposed to their own internal fighting, and the Earth was at peace. And the, I've always liked that just because it was so idealistic, and I guess I'm optimistic by nature, so it appealed to that side of me.
Mm-hmm.
But I've never disliked any of the stuff that's come after with the reboot and even the new series. I like them, and I guess I've always hoped for a Star Trek that takes place after Next Generation, because then I feel like you can play around more. You could have the Federation being destroyed by some outside threat that we've never seen before, and rebuild and have those different types of storylines and make it grittier and stuff, because it's well after that time period, and so it's unexplored time and unexplored ideas. But whenever you set it still within a Roddenberry-ish period, it gives me it tweaks me a little bit, just because it's continuity stuff, and it's just more to mess up and make me feel like, why are you messing around in this when you could easily go to a parallel universe, or you could just do something where it's far in the future and you're not messing with things. But that's why I'm curious as to how and what Tarantino will do. Like, it just seems like it would be weird to hear, someone like Sulu dropping the F-bomb or something. It just seems so different, and it's very hard to picture it. So if he was telling a different story or something, then it would be easier pill to swallow in that sense. But I don't know. Like you said, he obviously talked to J.J. Abrams about it, and he thought the idea was good enough to take it to Paramount, and they thought it was good enough to let them run with it. So it is interesting, and I would like to see what he comes up with. I'm cautiously optimistic in terms of what they will come up with.
I mean, Bobby, do you know, since I feel like especially lately you read a lot more news than I do, and I don't know, you probably know more details about whatever Deadline reported about this than I do, but has there been any like hinting as to like, would this be an Enterprise story or something else?
They have not. They've only said that in the past, when Tarantino has talked about his love of Star Trek, there's a couple different episodes he's mentioned that he really loves. And so there was the thought that maybe they could be basing this movie of his off of one of those two episodes in a extended format, basically. So, and I can't remember specifically the two episodes that he talked about, but I'm sure if you Google it, you could probably find it. But yeah, it just did. And if that's the case, then it would be based on the current Enterprise crew of what we have of the original Star Trek crew. So
right.
That's if he was going in that direction. But there has been no hints as to where this story would go or take place.
I mean, so I guess to further explain then my point of view is like, okay, if Tarantino were to direct a film with this current Enterprise crew, I would not be against that, but the idea of it being a rated R film would be, I don't know. I don't know if I would totally buy into that, just because then it would further set it apart from the universe they're kind of already have created, and it would just feel weird. But I could see Tarantino directing a film with those actors, with that crew, it would definitely still feel like a very different movie because it's Tarantino. I mean, it's going to be dialogue heavy. It's, I'm all for that. But if you were to do the rated R, full-on rated R kind of thing with it, then that would just be too weird. If you were going to go down that route and make it rated R and all that jazz, to me, it would really just need to be like a completely different like ship and everything and just like a separate side story, basically like these Star Wars side stories that we're now getting with Rogue One and all that kind of jazz. It would just need to be like, okay, now we're doing side Star Trek films, like cool, and here's one by Tarantino, and next one is going to be Robert Rodriguez or something like that. I don't know.
Well, for funsies, I've just been doing a little internet searchy, and Hollywood Reporter, I read one article just now, and it was basically Patrick Stewart saying, hell yeah, I'm definitely in. If he wants me, I'm there for him, basically. Another article saying Tarantino really enjoys the next generation, like a lot. Like that's a lot of his ideas apparently are starting to come from that. Another article, even older than that one, is referring back to an interview that Tarantino did in 2005 with Nerdist Podcast. And I'm going to quote this real quick because it kind of explains a little bit what Bobby was just talking about. Tarantino revealed that he would be more likely to direct a Star Trek film over a Star Wars pick, noting he was a big fan of the original series. And he says, I'm going to quote, "The only thing that limited them to their 60s budget and 8-day shooting schedule," he said, "you could take some of their classic Star Trek episodes and easily expand them to 90 minutes and more and really do something amazing stuff." Tarantino called the time travel focused Star Trek Next Gen episode, Yesterday's Enterprise, as one of the best Star Trek episodes ever written and is one of his absolute favorites. So that, I think, is one of the episodes Bobby was referring to when Tarantino was talking. And so I guess it's definitely plausible he could go down the Next Gen route in a way.
In a way, I mean...
I'm not saying he is. I'm just simply saying that he apparently...
Oh, yeah, no,
that's definitely the era he's enjoying the most.
Right.
But
that would be difficult too, though. Even if he tried to do that.
It would.
Just because, what do? Get the original actors, and they're all, they don't look like their younger selves, and
right. And he might not. He might do a resurgence of next gen films with different actors and research that based off of the new timeline.
Man, then I would start really feeling like Paramount is just starting to go down the Warner Brothers rabbit hole of trying to throw things at the wall and see what sticks.
Well, no, because I mean, in defense of like what you're saying, Bobby and Michelle, like if you were to do that, if you were to do I'm going to do stuff in kind of that next gen era, I would say then fine and make it another ship, but in that original timeline, not in the Prime timeline, not in Kelvin timeline.
Yeah, I don't know which way to go then. I have no idea.
I mean, yeah, if you were going to do stuff in next gen, then yeah, say if you really want to get in detail and people want to know what timeline is this on, okay, this is on Prime timeline. It's just not the Enterprise. It's somebody else. It's but it's that era of ships and those uniforms and that would be cool. Like, fine, like, because if you were to put it on the Kelvin timeline, but yet make it way into the future, then you are already like going, okay, we're doing stuff in the future, and now we're beholden to that. And anything we do on the Kelvin timeline in these other movies is we got to keep that in mind.
Although now that you say that though, David, I could see the language and the R rating working better in the Kelvin timeline than the Prime timeline.
That's what I think.
I do too, but
yeah.
But I still would argue that, I mean, look, we all know that we watch these movies and the show, and it's Star Trek and it's all PG and everything's great, but we all know in reality these people are having sex, these people are dropping F-bombs when we don't open the camera. I mean, when we're not seeing it in the story, like, it wouldn't be still all that out of the norm to go, okay, this is on the Prime timeline, but it's another ship, and this one we happen to see people, hooking up,
but
and
I do guess. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, you gotta get what I'm saying. I think, like,
yeah. I mean, it could happen in either timeline. I will say, I think it would, personally, my own opinion, I think it would be cool if they continued on with the Kelvin. I like Kelvin timeline. I don't know why I do. I couldn't sit here and tell you exactly what it is, but I enjoy it. And yeah, I mean, the Roddenberry, hardcore fans are going to probably hate me for that, but I do. I enjoy Kelvin. I've enjoyed these 3 films of recent. And if there's a more expansion upon this timeline, and if Tarantino's involved in it, yeah, hell yeah. Okay, we're doing this. We're doing this shit. This is happening. I'm down with it. I think it's awesome.
I think the only other thing I can say as to a negative about him making a Star Trek film, and I get the impression this is not the case, but the only reason I might be against it is if it were to count toward his one of his 10 films and he's going to be done. But I get the impression this is going to be kind of an addition to that.
Yeah, it would seem like it.
Because if this were a matter of, okay, he's only making 10 movies, and I had to pick, am I going to get a Tarantino Star Trek film or just an original Tarantino film? I'd have to go with an original Tarantino film.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem like that's the case. It sounds like he's like, okay, I'm only making 10 films, but I'll also make a Trek film if you guys give me the chance, and I'll make that 11. Then fine.
Well, so wait, isn't he working on a Charles Manson one right now?
Yeah.
So is that part of his count?
I think so.
Okay.
Yes. So, yeah, I believe it does, Michelle, because when I looked at the story, because at first everyone's calling it the Charles Manson movie or something along those lines, but then he later came out and I think he gave a synopsis for it, and it's not necessarily a Charles Manson movie. It's something based around that time. And
okay. See, I don't really know that much about it. I haven't really been following it.
Right. And I know the character of Sharon Tate would be in it, but it's not necessarily directly about Charles Manson. It's just the things that were happening within that year or that time frame. And so it kind of circles that whole event in a different sort of way. So it will be interesting to see what he does with that, just because it's such an interesting idea to explore. And obviously with Tarantino's mind, he has something specific he wants to say about it. So it's interesting to see where he goes with that and who he ends up casting, because there's all these rumors around who he wants to be in the movie. And it will be really, really cool to see if that pays out the way he wants it to.
So is he looking for an 2018 or an early 2019 on that? I mean, we're in December 2017.
You know what? I don't recall seeing a date, but if I had to guess, I think it was probably 2019.
Well, so then if he were, so I can't see him devoting his time to 2 films simultaneously. Let's just say the Star Trek thing happened. I almost couldn't see him devoting his time to this one he's working on and then that at the same time. So, I mean, we're looking, if this were all to happen in a happy little universe, we'd be looking at this Star Trek film at earliest, and I mean at earliest 2020, but realistically 2021, right?
It would be difficult to see how. I mean, he'd really have to be starting in on the Star Trek stuff this year if he's really expecting it to come out by 2019. So I maybe could see a 2020 date just because of how fast they can get these things going. Because if he's maybe splitting his time between the writing of it and then I'm sure a lot of the people behind the scenes will be working on set building and also working on digital effects.
The digital alone.
Previs and stuff. So, I mean, there could be a lot going while he's still directing and getting everything done for his movie. So, it's possible, but it just seems like a lot to try and put on your plate.
Yeah. So, I mean, even if this whole Star Trek thing went down, we're talking 2021 probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. And then, the release date, apparently, according to Variety, for this other film is August 9th, 2019.
Ooh. Yeah. Yeah, we got some time.
For the Manson film.
So yeah.
So yeah. That's us going from Star Wars to Star Trek in one show.
That's pretty good.
There was one other thing that I really thought was like a reason, maybe a negative in terms of him directing a Star Trek film, is that let's say it does good, like really good. How do you put that genie back in the bottle? Because are they just all going to start being rated R Star Treks, or how do you go back then if the rated R version did so well? It'd be like all of a sudden now that, well, and maybe by this time tomorrow, if Disney owns Fox, if Disney decided to put out a PG-13 Deadpool, it's like, after seeing a rated R, I don't know. I mean, could you do it? Yeah,
right.
I'm sure. But now that you've seen that in its raw, uncut form and unleashed, why would you want to go and water it down in any sort of way? So that's kind of the danger of making a good rated R Star Trek. It's like, well, how do you go back to what you had before when now you've been exposed to something that you didn't even know you wanted, and now it's really good, and how could you ever go back to that old thing?
Oh, Bobby, you are a good devil's advocate. You are.
It's true though, because then you're.
No, I agree.
I mean, you're automatically, if you make this film, you're gonna have a bunch of Trekkies that won't even probably see it. I wouldn't say the majority, but you're gonna definitely have some.
Oh yeah.
And then if you then go down and go on Paramount, is like, holy shit, this is a huge success, and we're making more money on this film than we have on any Trek film ever. Of course, that's what they're going to do. They're going to continue to make Trek films like that, and then you're just going to alienate a bunch of Trek fans, and then you're going to basically have a huge divide of Trek fans. You're going to have all these Trek fans that are the purists, and you're going to go to Dragon Con, and there'll be 2 Trek tracks. There's going to be the purist Trek track and the new Trek track, and they're going to fight, and they're going to hate each other.
Right. So it's just going to be
and the Star Wars, like Star Trek,
Roddenberry versus Kelvin or something, right?
Versus Abrams, right? I don't know. Tarantino. And then
oh my God.
That will get rid of the Star Wars versus Star Trek debate. It'll just turn into
Star Trek versus Star Trek,
Star Trek old versus Star Trek new, and Star Wars will be standing at the side going, just counting money, going, "Fuck, you guys are like, this is ridiculous."
Right?
Yeah, because there's not really that. I mean, sure, there's a small percentage of people that are maybe vocal about their. I hesitate to say love, but maybe it is a love for the prequels for Star Wars, but there's no real debate there.
No,
it's
really
like overwhelmingly, there's no infighting there, because most people will side on the side of people not liking the prequels. So there's less infighting between prequels versus the originals or whatever, whereas with the Star Trek thing, it could cause an actual divide.
No, I think it would cause an actual divide, and you're right. Basically, there's almost no one that's ever walking around going, actually, I thought Jar Jar was pretty cool. Like, I I loved the Phantom Menace, or that's not really happening.
Right.
Those people hide, and they don't talk about their true feelings.
No, they don't,
because they're scared.
Oh man.
Just saying. Well,
it's been an interesting side effect.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for joining us this time, Michelle.
Michelle.
What's that look for?
Great to have you on.
Thanks for having me.
You weren't here for the first one. That's all. That's the only reason I said that. All right. Yeah, I guess it's time to wrap things up. Next time we all talk, we will have seen a new Star Wars movie.
Last Jedi.
So, yeah, it's safe to say this next regular episode is just going to be about Star Wars.
It's basically all it's going to be.
So, eventually Michelle will get to talk about that thing I challenged her to watch like a month ago. Probably.
Oh, yeah, Dexter.
Yeah.
You know what? I might actually get to talk about The Crown.
I'm just saying you won't get to talk about The Crown this weekend.
I realize that's not going to happen this weekend. I acknowledge that's not happening this weekend. I'm...
You're not going to get to talk about Dexter. You're not going to get to talk about The Crown.
I'm super well aware of that.
3 weeks for Dexter. Oh my gosh.
That means you need to have watched like the first season. That's how this works, right?
No. That's a super no.
Oh, come
Mister,
on.
I took 3 weeks to watch 120-minute horror film.
Whatever.
Actually, it wasn't. It was like 97 minutes, that horror film.
Actually,
it was
super
short.
cheap.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, speaking of episodes, I meant to say this at the top of the show, but for anyone listening, yeah, like episode 235 was like a week late, which our apologies, but we ran into some technical difficulties with getting that posted. But hey, we finally got it out there. And then the next weekend, yeah, Bobby, you were the only one available to do a show, so you decided to do one on your own, which was awesome.
One-man cabaret.
236 is a Bobby solo show.
Which is awesome.
And then 237, which we'll be recording this coming weekend, is just going to be a Star Wars show, period. Like we're not even going to pretend that we're going to be discussing anything else.
No.
So, yeah, we got to do that Sunday night. And then after that, yeah, we got to figure out when we're going to be able to record the weekend of Christmas. And
we'll have something before Christmas, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously we're not... I don't think any of us are beholden to record on Christmas Eve. I think
No,
we all have friends and
we'll
family
have to-
that we'd rather celebrate with. I would say, and I'm saying this, if Bobby and Yasha were here in Florida on Christmas Eve, we'd be celebrating with Bobby and Yasha on Christmas Eve.
yeah.
If they were here. But they're not. So we're not going to do a show on Christmas Eve. But we'll do something.
Yeah, we'll do something like shit. I mean, we already have tickets to see The Shape of Water next week.
Yeah, we do.
So
Yeah, I'll want to talk about that for sure
I'm
at some
excited
point
about
somewhere.
And then, yeah, I'm already getting to that point where I'm like, fuck, I got to start my binging of movies that I didn't watch.
Oh, yeah, the Golden Globes came out. The noms came out this week.
Yeah,
We
the
haven't
noms
talked
came
about
out.
that. Oh, my God.
I'm sorry, but it's Star Wars week, Michelle.
Face is
Golden
melting.
Globes
My
get a
face
back
is
seat.
melting off. Maybe we could put like the Golden Globe noms up or something attached to this link.
Maybe we could do that.
You smile at me. Silly lady.
You crazy person.
Anyway.
All right, we're going to get out of here. As always, we'd love to hear back from anyone listening. Our email is feedback@flickereffect.com. Please email us. Give us your questions and comments. Or find us on Facebook at facebook.com/flickereffect. Or Instagram at flickereffect, just one word. Or Twitter.
Or YouTube.com.
Or at youtube.com/flickereffect. I can say our name. Or at Twitter at flicker_effect. All those lovely places you can find us and reach out to us. And yeah, I'm David Lott.
I'm Bobby Jackson.
I'm Michelle Hillard.
Thanks for listening.